Okay, folks. Test 3, number 13. Now we're talking. A challenging question for which the use of these values here is of essential importance. So, look, the way to start this question is to look at the answer choices and notice it's either 16 or 3 with a positive or a negative sign. If you look at this division that has to happen, we're looking for what a is. 24x squared divided by ax. Well, 24 divided by a is going to render us with a negative 8x. Well, that means that we should have a negative value. And 24 divided by not 16 but 3 is how we would get to an 8. So the answer is B with just a very short amount of work using the answer choices. I'll show you some other ways of thinking about it. So, backing up, first of all, it says this is true for all values other than this. So all that's referring to is we don't want a denominator of 0. Because if x is 2 over a, then this ax minus 2 would be, get rid of this stuff, if ax minus 2, if x did equal 2 over a, then this thing would equal a times 2 over a minus 2, and that would be 2a over a minus 2, which is just 2 minus 2, which is 0. And then we would have a denominator of 0, which is undefined. So all this is saying is you can't be a nerd and tell us we're undefined in certain spots. We know that. What about everywhere else? Well, if this is true everywhere else, then what it means is for any value of x, this works. In other words, these equations are precisely the same thing written two different ways. Okay, so look, I showed you the way that just relied on using the values at the very beginning, but let me show you another way of bringing the values in about halfway through. If you multiplied both sides of the equation by ax minus 2, I'll write it all over here so you can see what I mean. If I have 24x squared plus 25x minus 47 equals all this business over here. And then if I multiply both sides by ax minus 2 over 1, I guess this is all over ax minus 2, that was the point. So if I multiply ax minus 2 over 1 times all this stuff, which is divided by ax minus 2, these cancel. If that's unclear, we should do some algebra work and then come back to a problem like this. But multiplying by a reciprocal is how you get rid of a denominator. And if you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other. So that's going to mean we multiply this side by ax minus 2. Running out of space over here over 1. Let me back up and just make that a little bit cleaner, just in case. So we're multiplying all this by ax minus 2 over 1. Okay, so when you do that, what you get is 24x squared plus 25x minus 47. We've gotten rid of the denominator. And I'm going to distribute this stuff, but let's kind of think about it like this. Maybe I'll do this. That's fine. You can always put brackets around it and leave that minus sign out there. That's cool. I'm going to say ax minus 2 is getting multiplied by negative 8x minus 3. And then it's multiplied by this term, which cancels here and here. So we just get our minus 53. So I hope that makes sense. That's integral for this next step. So look, here's the thing. You could FOIL all this out, and that's totally fine. You could totally FOIL all this out. But only parts of it are essential. So the first term of FOILing, first term times first term, would be negative 8ax squared. If you paused right there, you would say, look, if this is true for all values, then this 24x squared is negative 8ax squared, which means a has to be a value such that 24 equals negative 8 times a, otherwise known as negative 3. So that's another way of using this. And you could keep going with this math. You could do the middle terms, and it might help you clarify what's going on, but it's ultimately not necessary. So for instance, the last term would be negative 3ax. That's the outside term, right? Ax times is on the outside, negative 3 is on the outside. Inside would be positive 16x. Last would be positive 6. And then we still have this minus 53. Look, 6 and negative 53, that's the negative 47 we're looking for. That's over here. These terms, negative 3x and 16x, have to add up to 25x. That also works with a is negative 3, because if a is negative 3, we have negative 3 times negative 3, positive 9, plus 16 is 25. Right? So that's the standard approach, but look, you could have used the numbers right from the beginning like I showed you. So I showed you the long approach so you could see how all the math works out, but ultimately all you have to do is use the values in the answers and think about 24x divided, or 24x squared divided by ax equals negative 8x. Cool. So that's number 13, and I think using real values from the very beginning is certainly very, very helpful in this question.